but it's already close enough as opposed to coming out of a warehouse somewhere on the edges of the city. It's going to take too long. So this whole usage of predictive analytics is incredibly important to actually be able to cost effectively meet the service levels that we're promising for consumers in the future. Secondly, it needs to be connected. So we have the enterprise-to-enterprise connection, but also the top-to-bottom connection in organizations. Everything is connected. Communications and data are being shared amongst people, systems, and machines in real time. The industrial Internet of Things backs the optimization of operational data and cross-disciplinary data. We have connected operations, connected sites, connected machines with real-time visibility in supply chain control towers. Having that real-time visibility is incredibly important because I've always professed and been able to work that up with companies that the more information they have, the less inventory they need. Inventory is just a replacement for information. If I have perfect information about what customers want and when they want it and where they want it, I will have very little inventory. But typically we're not very good at that. So we just add on a lot of inventory, and that's a buffer. But that's an inefficient buffer, right? And as I mentioned before, now we're getting to the point where that doesn't even work anymore because it's going to be too late, right? Even if we have this big inventory, we need to be quicker. We need to be more nimble. So companies are building supply chain control towers where they have wall-to-wall visibility of every single product and material and asset in their business, and they can track it in real time. But again, Internet of Things is making this happen. And then it's about 3 levels. The first one is, okay, I can see now what is happening, which is interesting, and it's very good to know. Then I want to know why things happened. Right? So, why didn't this go on time? Why were we late there? Why did this go off the rails? So I'm doing analytics. And then the third level is the predictive analytics. I'm then starting to add analytics that are actually going to say, okay, I know now what is going to happen in my network, based on the real-time information that I've built up over time. But that's not something you do straight away. It really is 3 levels of evolution. And so you need to start with that rapidly and then evolve from there. The third element is living. It's really a systemic and cultural capability to act with speed, focus, and agility to meet the needs and seize opportunities in the market. So you need innovative engagement models, such as these hyper-local offerings that I was talking about. We don't want to sell the same items in the same locations. We don't want to provide the same services in the same locations. We really need to be hyper-local, down to, depending upon the city and the country, down to street-level differences, what I actually put in stores. I mean, I'm working with some of my clients in Japan, with 10,000 retail shops where we're actually able to tailor the offering based on the flavors. This is for the breakfast and lunch and dinner meals, and we can tailor it, by suburb. But you need to have that information, you need to have that knowledge, and then you need to be able to actually fulfill that and do that in a cost-effective way. A shift from monolithic and centrally driven supply to diffused and bidirectional supply. There's this push-pull. We no longer sit in this big ivory tower and we decide what's going to happen, right? We need to be able to cascade that down because there's no way that you can control all of that. You need to put in place the capabilities for this to happen at lower levels, but then you need to also set the parameters and limit this so this doesn't go off the rails, because that's what I've seen as well. You divulge some of that decision-making and authority, and it becomes unmanageable, right, if you don't set the right boundaries and parameters around it. And lastly, these companies need to be learning. So it's about having adaptive interactions that create increasingly relevant and valuable user experiences over time. Think about AR-based smart glasses, which provide information to operators on live readings, inspections, checklists, step-by-step procedures for workers in the field. Think about self-learning AI systems, which respond to production failures, carry predictive analytics out, and streamline distribution. And using advanced analytics and self-learning, machine learning, AI, overlaying that and learning and improving continuously is critical. And that's what we're now seeing happening, because we've got this data available now, right? We've got the processing power to be able to do it. And what I would urge everybody is to start playing with this very quickly, because you're going to be on the back foot very rapidly if you don't do it. And you're going to be caught out before you know it. You don't have to invest billions of dollars, but have a sandpit and play in it. And do it in an agile way. Do it in a nimble and startup way, right? Because most of the startups, successful startups, haven't started off with big billion-dollar budgets. There's been two guys and a dog in a garage, right? And they've grown it from there. Right? So you know, what does a successful Industry X.0 company have to consider? Transforming the core builds on the success of Industry 4.0, but not only optimizes performance within each function or process area. So, firstly, transforming the core. The lines between the functions are blurring. There's a distinct focus on improving agility and customer responsiveness, all fueled by advancements in digital. Industry X.0 will transform the core. It will digitize, integrate engineering, manufacturing, and service. But then, the key difference for Industry X.0 is the growth in the new. I keep telling you, this is so important. Customers are seeking new experiences, and the rise of industrial consumerism requires the reinvention of products and the services that surround them. Right? If you just focus on operational efficiency, you'll be dead, right, in 5 years' time. It's not going to happen. Right? Customers seeking these new experiences, and that rise of industrial consumerism is just exacerbating that. But this is just the beginning. Many companies realize the value of these Industry X.0 elements. Our research now has shown that only 13% of companies said that they have been able to successfully grow in the new while also transforming the core. So think about that. 13% is absolutely horrifying to think of that. Right? Having the right strategy is key to being able to deliver on both at the same time. And stay away from optimizing for just a piece of your business, because you might even be sub-optimizing the whole. Don't do it in a silo. Do it across. Right? Industry X.0 is not a series of pilots. Right? You can't throw technology at something and then expect it to stick. It's more cultural. It is more transformational. Right? And having the right top-level strategy leaders is where the winners will differentiate from the rest. I'll talk about that in a bit more time as well. Okay, so what do companies need to do to successfully compete and become an agile Industry X.0 competitor? We think there are 4 primary strategies that they need to deploy. The first one, integrate the core functions into a continuous loop product lifecycle. So, you know, functional domains across the entire value chain, you know, product design, engineering, manufacturing, sourcing, distribution, service, you name it. It all needs to come together and managed across as an end-to-end value chain. Because product and service life cycles are and will continue to be even more non-linear. And Industry X.0 companies need to develop the right strategies to remove these silos and to remove the inefficiencies that they have created over time, especially between engineering, manufacturing, and the service organization. Fueled by advancements in digital, such as digital twin, digital thread, where data and information freely flows between these functions, they need to operate as one. And the product lifecycle becomes a continuous loop as they become more integrated with markets and customers, continuously leveraging data and digital technologies to optimize products, services, and operations. The second one is around optimizing the core functions to drive Industry 4.0 level efficiencies. So companies really need to build their core engineering and production systems around digital to drive new levels of efficiency. They need to ensure that physical machines and people and software are synchronized to optimize the execution of the continuous loop product lifecycle. Additionally, unlocking previously unforeseen benefits is really driving up investment capacity that they can redeploy into their growth initiatives. Thirdly, shaping new experiences for customers, executives, and employees. Companies will need to use their investment capacity to drive these new personalized experience for customers, multiple smart touchpoints. At the same time, investing in their own people will be a key aspect for successful Industry X.0 companies. Sourcing, developing, and retaining talent with a digitally native background is going to be key. Right? And encouraging active collaboration between people, data, and machines is critical for success. And I think the digitally native younger folks are much more apt in doing that than the older generations. They interact with machines and use data and apps in a much more native way than I do. And I think that is absolutely critical in terms of being able to attract the right talent, retain it, and then build and train folks in your organization. And then fourthly, it's about growing revenue and establishing new revenue models through smart and connected products. So Industry X.0 companies will ideate and create new business models, products and services to drive differentiated value for their clients and new revenue streams for themselves. They build intelligent and connected products from scratch that are capable of adaptive transformation and interaction with the actual operations. And then companies can continue to leverage the industrial Internet of Things for sharper insights, right? So they can actually find new sources of value. And then the continued rise, once you've got all that in place, then the continued rise of as-a-service products can be used to drive new sources of revenue, leveraging software-based services and the pay-per-revenue models. So if you think about that, what does that mean for supply chains? Well, every high-performing supply chain is actually a digital supply network, right? And it encompasses the end-to-end value chain from designing products, procuring raw materials, manufacturing, storing, distributing, servicing, and then retiring them. Right? And that includes the end-to-end planning and the visibility across that supply chain. And operators in that space will need to manage the ecosystem of partners in that supply chain. Right? So contract manufacturers, 3PLs, retailers, distributors, service and installation partners, suppliers, customers. You can no longer just sell an industrial product and put it on the internet and let companies buy it. Well, maybe you can and do that in a low-cost self-service way,